Peyton Watson, your senior year of high school. Congratulations, you're going to UCLA. Let's back it up a little bit, though. Growing up in Long Beach, was basketball the only sport? You play a couple sports. When did you fall in love with basketball?
Nah, growing up, my pops always had me involved in stuff. I played football growing up, but
What position?
I played wide receiver. I was a little tall when I was growing up, so I was wide receiver. I could catch, so that's what I played. And then as I started getting more serious about basketball, I just said I'm gonna go fully to basketball, work on my craft, and try to be as good as that as possible. So that's just what I.
When did you
ended up
feel
doing.
like you kind of fell in love with basketball? Like, this is what I want to do for a living?
I have to say probably right when I was like finishing up elementary school, so when I was like 9, 10 years old, I was just seeing it, I was understanding the game more, and it was really teaching me that people make money off just playing this game.
I got a chance to meet you and your dad at the Taco Tuesday runs that Legend puts on at Sports Academy. And I remember he was telling me, you know, you had a few choices. UCLA was one. Out of the schools who were recruiting you, what was about UCLA that made you want to stay home?
First and foremost, it's home. I've always lived in Southern California my entire life, lived pretty much in the same house my entire life, and family's super important to me. I couldn't fathom my family not being able to come to my games and support me because they've always been doing that since I was a young age. So just being able to continue that was a big part of it. And then also it being such a historically good basketball school and the academics as well. It was just a perfect storm of everything that we wanted.
I mean, it was a dream of mine. You know, I was someone who played football, baseball, basketball, and track all in high school. So I never took on any recruiting trips. I remember I came to LA on some AAU stuff, and we went to the beach, and we saw girls, and we went on campus, and we saw girls. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to take no trips when I'm just going to go to school here. So that's how I kind of picked it. And it was, you know, obviously being able to make the NBA and play 15 years is a blessing. Having children is a blessing. But I tell you, man, UCLA was one of the funnest times of my life.
The motto for me, and my dad's always taught me, is look good, feel good, play good. And when you performing well and you performing well in the right stuff, it just all comes together, and it's a great thing to have.
You had an opportunity to play in the Snoop Legends 3-on-3 basketball tournament a couple months ago. You weren't the highest ranked player there. To me, you were the best player there. You stood out. I think you played both sides of the ball really well. It kind of seems like you've been underrated and underappreciated. Do you feel that? And do you have a chip on your shoulder from it?
Yeah, 100%. First and foremost, I got to say that I'm blessed to be ranked wherever I am at, especially given the limited amount of ball I've played in the public eye. But I do think I deserve everything. I've worked for it, and I do think that I deserve to be ranked higher. I just go out there and I hoop. I play my best. I give it my all, and that's what I go out there and I leave it all on the floor.
On both sides, that's what I like too. Because I remember I was talking in your ear a little bit. There was one kid was he from Atlanta?
Yeah.
That was a problem, and I gave you a few pointers, and you completely shut his water off. But I think the fact that you just took that from me, you didn't have to. You took it from me and applied it right away. And you completely stopped whatever he was doing, and which allowed your guys' team to do what you did. But I definitely want to give you a shout out because, you know, there were some big names there, Chet and a few other guys. But to me, you were the best player there. You stood out there. It seemed like you were a man amongst boys out there. So that's why I'm really excited. Who is the one player you model your game after in the NBA?
If I had to go with one guy, this is a guy that I feel that I've been watching since forever, is Kevin Durant.
Easy money sniper.
Yes, sir. That's somebody, just because of our frames, I always knew I was going to be tall. He's a super talented guy, and he's worked hard to be, like, there's never been a Kevin Durant. So I don't ever by any means like to compare myself, but if I had to tell you one player I model my game after, is Kevin Durant.
Shit.
And I keep in touch with him too as well, so that's been a blessing to just be able to talk to him and share things with him. And it's crazy to think that, like, I've looked up to him for so long, and he's kind of starting to treat me like a peer, and I'm like, whoa,
That's
all
crazy, right?
It's crazy to think about that. I'm just taking it one step at a time, and guys like you, yourself, and him are really helping me and giving me insight on what I need to do when I get there and how to handle business.
Yeah. I think you touched on something that was dope, though, because, you know, not everyone gets to experience that, you know, get a chance to first and foremost meet someone you look up to. but then you guys are going to be, competitors. You guys are going to be competing against each other one day. And I remember when I first got in the league, like I had to shake my head. Like my first game was against my hometown Sacramento Kings. Chris Webber was my big homie, one of my favorite players. But I had to all right, forget what's going on. Like you got to go out there and hoop. Like you got to kind of get that off. And I remember the first time I played Kobe and Shaq. First time I played Allen Iverson. You name it, and it's just like you kind of have to get over that awe moment and realize like they're coming for your neck. It's time to go. Speaking of Kevin Durant, his head coach, former teammate of mine, Steve Nash, is an investor in this company and Legends, part of our family. So I'm excited. What did you think when he was signed as the Nets coach?
I thought it was good. Players always resonate with players well because they've seen it and they've played the game. And guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, like it's hard to I could imagine that it's hard to kind of tell them because they know so much about the game, but just they respect Steve Nash from a player standpoint and also as their coach as well. So I think just having those basketball minds is good for the team.
The year I played with the Warriors in 17 when we won the championship, Steve had some I don't even know what his title was, but he was a coach. He would show up every once in a while. But the drills he had Steph and KD doing, like to just kind of sit back and watch, like to see Steph at 6'3" and then KD at 7 foot doing all the same weird 1 foot spin shit, twists off the back. And it was just like, it was beautiful to watch, but it was all in Steve's mind about balance and placement. What does Black History Month mean to you?
Growing up, my parents have always kept me educated on everything going on in the world, especially growing up as a young black man. They've always told me certain things that you need to tell your kids. It's that coming of age moment that you can't do certain things the same way as, because I grew up in a very nice neighborhood. My parents were doing well for me and themselves, so I always grew up around other white kids, other different color skinned kids, and my parents made sure to tell me that you can't be doing the same stuff that they do sometimes because it's not going to be looked at the same way.
Absolutely.
So just them educating me on that and just knowing that you can't do certain stuff and just always stay strong in your mental, knowing that stuff might not be fair all the time, but just knowing that you know where you come from, you got good parents, you got good people in your ear.
Be grounded, and definitely, because even though we're athletes, that can't change the color of our skin. People I use my platform a lot to speak out against injustices and stuff. Well, shut up! You have a bunch of money. You live behind gates. Your kids go to private school, which is all right, but it could have been wrong term, and I could have been someone that didn't have any of this. So I speak for all those kind of people, and I think Black History Month is a great month, obviously, to celebrate everything we've been through, but also show how far we have to go still.
No doubt.
We still have a long way to go.
Gotta keep.
Our country's kind of up in the air right now. Hopefully, I think we're headed towards the right direction, but I think black people had a lot to do with kind of turning this finally, after 400 years, kind of turning our country in the right direction. So I'm excited. What does the word legend mean to you?
Legend for me is someone who they do things beyond whatever their job is. So for me, people like Kobe, LeBron, people who have influences outside of basketball. Obviously, they've worked at their craft to be the best at their sport, but they have an influence outside of basketball, and people take what they say and they try to apply it to their lives. That's what a legend is to me.
Absolutely. We're a little bit over a year ago from when Kobe passed away. Being a kid that grew up in LA, being a Laker fan, knowing what he meant to this city. It seems like yesterday, but what kind of impressions did Kobe leave with you as a young athlete coming up in this space?
I think for everybody, we all admire what Kobe did on the court, but more than anything, I think everybody really admires his mindset. That's one thing that I took from Kobe, is that to just be a killer at all times. He made it cool to work hard, try your best, and that's something that will always stick with me. I always play my hardest because I know that there's guys like him. There's always someone out there that's working just as hard as you and has the same exact goal. So I've just been blessed with the talent, so I think it's up to me to do the rest, which is just put in the work and continue to play.
Absolutely. Peyton Watson, man. Good
Yes,
luck
sir.
at UCLA. Thank you for your time, bro.
Appreciate you.
No doubt.